Welcome to Monday Night Skippys here on RaceSpotTV. You're not adjusting your sets, or your screen in this case. We are just starting out here. We're on about halfway through lap number 1 here. Had a few little technical difficulties at the start of this one, but we are live all the same. Rachel Whiteford and Linus Brostrom bringing in the action from Catalonia here in Barcelona, Spain. And right now, it is Simon Edwards who just made a huge mistake there, heading up the hill. Claire Hughes takes back the lead along with Ewan Patterson there. We've also got Lee Anderson in that top group, and Peter Cowan qualifying incredibly well. Linus in 4th, he's back right now in 6th place, but overall, this one has taken a rather interesting start with one big spin.
It really has. It's Anthony Catt. He qualified actually all the way down in 8th, which is surprising for him, and he's now down in 36th after that little spin on the first lap, and it was all by his own doing as well. Just went in too hot to the corner. Nobody collected him, thankfully, so he's still going, but he's way back in 36th, like I said, so he's got his work cut out for him.
Certainly is, and it's the sort of thing that this track especially can be quite difficult to practice, of course. Big track designed for F1, but these cars go pretty well from what I've seen so far. There's some big straights for them to get some real power at the draft, especially the start-finish line. And the first hill climb is, I think, one of the more challenging ones for these cars, and it's sort of big, long right-hander.
Yeah, it really is, and like you said, this track is almost too big for these cars. It's so wide and it's so long, and the turns are just so long. You can get massive runs from people, and with the long straights and long sweeping turns, it's definitely the points for overtaking, and going to be a lot of drafting all the way around the laps.
11 laps here today. Okay, so it's much shorter than I really imagined, but it's a 2-minute lap, which is maybe my mind is blown here, but I always consider Catalonia a very short circuit. But it's a really long lap for these cars.
Yeah, it is. The F1 cars go around this track at very high speed, and these cars just doesn't come close to that. So it turns out to be just over 2 minutes and 4 seconds. So it's going to be a pretty long one for these cars, but going to be a lot of action. Now, at the moment, we have an 8-car pack there at the front. The front 3, it pulled away, but the others caught right back up to him when they were trying to pass each other. So at the moment, an 8-car battle with Hughes leading over Patterson, Anderson, and Cox in P number 4. But no real opportunities being taken here to make it past. They're all just sitting in line, so no real action as of yet.
Start-finish line here at Barcelona, but they just crossed it. On to lap number 3 here. It's Hughes, Patterson, Anderson. We'll just take you through the qualifying order of everybody so far, as we get a chance to do that earlier. Hughes put it on pole today, as Anderson actually just making the pass there up to 2nd place. Might be up the inside for 1st here, actually. Well, look at that. Up the inside of Hughes, and Lee Anderson fighting for the top spot. Go on, Anderson. It's something we would love to see from him, Linus. He's been pushing on that door all season long, last season. And this is him taking the top spot in the race. Of course, in qualifying we had Simon Edwards 2nd, Patterson 3rd, Cowan 4th, Anderson 5th qualification position there. Cox, Daniels, Carts, Dunning, and Savage in 10th. And honestly, I'm just blown away by seeing this here. Lee Anderson in that pink number 337 taking the lead in this race, and I'd love to see him at least lead a lap. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, it was a great move there from 3rd all the way up to 1st, going into turn 1 and up through the hill, and side by side behind as well between Cox and Pattinson. That's going to be Cox actually getting that 3rd place eventually, but great run there by Anderson. Obviously Lee Hughes is going to come back at him now, coming down the front straightaway, but I believe he's actually going to hold on to that lead coming to the start-finish line. Still got a pretty long way to go though. This little straightaway here, you can see if maybe Lee Hughes will get the draft now. Coming into the next braking point, he is going to stay behind him by the looks of it though. He's not going to even try to make a move. He's going to get really, really close. A bit too late on the brakes. Anderson is sideways. That forces Cox to go a bit wide, and Patterson comes back up the inside for 3rd.
Certainly does here, and he's trying to force his way in there, still holding good spacing though on the inside line there, coming now into a twistier, tighter section here. Well, this will force him out a little wider. Patterson trying to look to the inside, not going to be able to have it. Matt Cox will take the spot. So Daniels slows down. Big continue behind him there. Ben Daniels just got really slow across the apex as he got cut off by Patterson. Slowed down, got hit by Cowan, who got hit from behind by Tufts, and there goes the Conga.
Wow, yeah, they're lucky they didn't hit harder. It would have made some big damage to those wings, but that's definitely going to let the front 4 here pull away. And as you can see now here, they come again as Lee Hughes past Anderson, and here comes Cox. He's going to look to the inside. He's not going to make a move on the leader though. He's actually going to stay in 3rd. So that's Hughes up to the lead, and Anderson in 2nd still.
Certainly is, and Lee Anderson doing a great job with this one so far. Is scored as having led a lap, so he's definitely on the scoreboard with that one, and he's right up here in a podium fighting position right now, and I'm really expecting him to have a great race today. This track really seems to suit him. A little bit further back, Daniels and Cowan side by side here.
Yeah, these guys are going at it, almost 3 wide now. At the moment 2 wide. Cowan gets ahead of Ben Daniels again. Tufts behind, looking to get involved. He can't find an opening though. Daniels still has the overlap on Cowan, but Cowan looks like he's going to clear him now, coming onto the next straightaway here, into the next braking zone. Is he going to make a move? Tufts moves out again in behind Daniels, so he's going to try and set him up here though. Daniels is really close to Cowan. Going to try and get a really good exit here. Oh, it's crash behind.
Believe we've got Edwards involved.
Whoa, everybody's involved in that.
Yeah, Edwards goes into the back of Tufts.
Williams.
Edwards goes into the back of Tufts there. Tufts slows down. PM Jones catches him, and Clark Williams. That was a huge moment there on the racetrack.
Yeah, they're lucky they get out of the way before the rest of the field comes through, but still, that's going to collect about 3 or 4 cars. Looks like some people might be able to keep on going, but Clark Williams has a heavy hit there, and so does all the other drivers. So one car actually goes airborne as well. I believe that was SJ Dunning who got hit right in the side, so that's very unfortunate for all of them. Actually, it looks like Dunning survived that, so good for him. He's able to keep on going.
Oh, big moment there again in the chicane at the end of the lap. We had a car turned around. I'm trying to work out who exactly that one was, as things were a little jumbled up here on the racetrack. We had a car just going wide. I think Vaughan Roberts was the car. It is. Vaughan Roberts goes off after he's contact with the, I think I'm looking for the number on this car. The 24 car collides there. James Booth Jones climbs the back of Vaughan Roberts, tips him sideways, and he whips back across the track after sliding on the grass, and big collisions there with several more cars. This has become a very bloody race, Linus, all of a sudden.
It really has, and 2 of our championship contenders not doing very well at all. Anthony Catt is actually well out of the race, and Simon Edwards is now down to 29th following that incident, obviously back on the track. So he's going to try and work his way back up the field, but this really opens the door for some of the other people. Obviously Lewis is still up there, but you've got Anderson, Cox and Pattinson all looking to strike here now and get that win that they've been waiting for so long. But it's a great opportunity now that 2 of the fastest cars are out of the way.
Certainly is, and that will definitely change the dynamic of this one. Of course, Simon Edwards, we expected to have a great race here, but really not been his day so far. Multiple incidents for him, and he is now probably out of this race. I believe we've had retirements so far from Anthony Catt, Christopher Kane, Anthony PM Jones, and Nicholas Vaughan Roberts, all retiring, Linus, at this stage as well. So that's a big one for them.
Yeah, it really is, and well, thankfully in this series you have drop weeks, but Simon Edwards just cannot afford a drop week, so he definitely cannot afford to just get a DNF here. He's going to have to try and get every single position that he can back in this one and see if he can salvage any points, but he's a long way behind the top 20 and the top 10, so he's going to have to do what he can.
Certainly is. And up at the front, it's Claire Hughes, Matt Cox, Lee Anderson, Ewan Patterson so far, and things definitely still getting exciting. 32, Linus, all forgot.
James McRitchie, he has had an incident. Going to get a replay up of that. He's in a battle here with the 787 of SJ Dunning and Chris J. Robertson, and that is Dave Martin as well. And Dunning and Martin just gets together, and he runs into the back of Dunning, loses his car, and just goes in the barrier. So that's it for James McRitchie. He actually stops on the track and then drives off the track into the barrier. So don't really know what he was trying to do there, but he got off the track, out of the way anyway, and ends his race. So unfortunate for James McRitchie, an incident in front of him he can't do anything about, but it's game over for him.
Certainly is. And Hughes, Cox up front, holding a good margin here. Lap number 6 so far of 11, Linus, past the halfway point, and this one is definitely getting itself into a more interesting line. The gap now looking at about 5 seconds between 4th and 5th. This has widened up incredibly far. Cowan is in 5th place with Tufts, and then Ben Daniels back there in going to be the 7th spot for them here. Behind them is going to be another 4 seconds back to Dave Martin, who's running there with Chris Robertson, James Ruth Jones. Jack Knight just behind them, Simon Maltby in 12th place. Kirkman, Paul Smith, RaceSpotTV's own, in there in 14th, up from 30th place already. That's incredible for him. Clark Williams recovering, he's back in 15th. We've got Bontemp 16th, Stevenson, Stack, Crisp, and Chris Morris in 20th so far, up at the sharp end of the field. Things really haven't changed much. Still Hughes, Cox, Anderson, Patterson. Seems to be one of our new kind of groupings of top fours, and I want to talk about Ewan Patterson for a moment, as he's had an incredibly good season this time and last. When's he going to win a race?
Well, I mean, he's there most of the time. He's had a very, very consistent season, if you want to put it that way. It's not been any wins, but he's had some 5s and some good results. One DNF as well, unfortunately, but he's 4th in the championship, so he's the best of the rest, if you want to call it that. So this is definitely a time for him to maybe step up and beat Lee Hughes and get that win, but obviously there is Cox and Anderson as well, so it's not something that's very, very simple to do for him right here, as he's currently sitting last in his first group of 4 people. As you see Lee Hughes coming back up the inside now, Cox retaking that lead, but well done mistake from the cars in front of him, and he could very well see himself be the leader of this in a matter of seconds.
Certainly is, and the leader might be changing here, as Cox is definitely bringing it now. Going to be his corner up ahead. No, in fact, Hughes managed to outstrip him there. We've seen Matt Cox back out here on lap 7 as they climb up the hill towards the top of the circuit. And Anderson still being patient here. Is he thinking Clark Williams, Linus? Is this his role?
Well, he's as long as they're battling in front, I don't think he wants to get too involved, because one little wrong step and his race will be over. He might try and make a move now coming down the front straightaway. Still a few more turns to go. Cox closing back up there on Lee Hughes, and here comes Pattinson making a move on Anderson. So Anderson is not going to go for the lead on the straightaway, but Pattinson might be. So Anderson actually taking it way too carefully there. So going to have to step his game up a little bit if he wants to win this, but maybe he has a tactic. So coming into that last chicane once more. On lap number 7, we're going to get 4 laps to go this time by. Still Hughes leading from Cox, Pattinson and Anderson. See what they can do, and I need to get a really good exit here out of the last corner. Cox goes a little tighter than Hughes, but he is obviously going to use the draft here. Hughes tries to break it though by going the IndyCar line. He only does it once, knows that it doesn't work. Cox is getting closer. He's going to get close enough though. It's a really, really long straightaway. And he is going to have a look up the inside. They're going to be side by side into the braking zone, and Cox is going to retake the lead, or is he? Hughes is going to hold it on the outside. He's going to have the inside in the next corner. Here comes Pattinson up the inside. And Cox is going to have the inside now. He's going to get a little bit of a run on Hughes. He's going to almost clear him, but not quite. Hughes has the overspeed on the outside, and now he's going to get the inside for the next corner. Here comes Anderson on Pattinson as well, so they're side by side behind. Pattinson tries to almost make it 3 wide, but he cannot, and Cox clears Hughes for the lead, and Anderson is going into 3rd. You see, here comes Hughes as well, looking back on the inside of Cox for the next corner. Pattinson clears Anderson, and Hughes is going back into the lead. What a race.
Absolutely, it's getting crazy up here at the sharp end. They've got 7 seconds, Linus, to play with to the guys behind him. But this is fantastic racing. We'd almost love to see it. We know it's, of course, going to lose time if we race side by side, but who cares? It's racing, it's fun. And the more cars we involve in this, the better. But it's certainly incredibly exciting here to see what these guys are actually pulling, and exactly what might transform from this.
No one is definitely wanting to sit in the last position or second place and wait for the last lap to draft past though, but that start-finish line is really early on the start-finish straight, so coming into turn number 1, you probably want to be the leader on the last lap, because you're not going to have too many opportunities to draft past into the lead very easily, I don't think, unless you want to make a little bit of a dive. But here they come again into the chicane. Hughes has got a slight gap this time because of the battling behind. Cox is going to try and set him up though. He's got Pattinson right behind him, and Anderson, see what he can do from 4th this time. There's going to be some massive drafting coming down this straightaway. It's I think one of the longest straightaways we're running in this series, apart from maybe Nordschleife when we were running that, but that's been quite a few seasons. Here he comes, looking to get up the inside again. Uses it, not going to cover this time either. He's going to give Cox the inside. He's going to be a bit further up this time. And he's actually going to lose out already in turn number 2 this time, or is he? He's still got the nose cone on the inside, and he's going to get it right back, and here comes Anderson.
Anderson definitely working his way up the inside here. We'll see if we can pull the move finally and get it to stick on Ewan Patterson here. Crossover by Hughes. This racing is getting very intense. Side by side here.
Sideways a bit there for Hughes.
3 wide just behind him here. Nearly, it is in fact 3 wide there for 2nd, 3rd and 4th. This is crazy. Patterson will still have the inside. The running order really hasn't changed there, other than it's gone back to how it was, in fact, Linus.
Yeah, it's crazy. They go 3 wide, almost 4 wide, and somehow they just come out in the same order every single time, despite Cox getting ahead of Hughes both times. He manages to pull the crossover on him, and that was a little bit wide on the curb there by Matt Cox. Is he going to get away with that one? Ooh, that was right on the limit, I think, but it looks like he has, because he's not slowing down, so he just got away with that one. But you don't want to do that again, Matt, because that will definitely cost you a chance at the win if you get a slowdown in that turn. Here comes Pattinson up the inside now. He's going to get that 2nd place. Actually fairly easily. He's just going to move in front of Cox and block that crossover attempt. So Pattinson into 2nd place, and will he have something for Hughes going into turn 1, or will Hughes be able to pass him back as well?
Certainly is an exciting development really, and just seeing how much these guys are willing to push with this thing, but they've not really lost much time here. Daniels and Co are still about 8 seconds back in this, so that really hasn't changed.
No, they're not really battling back there very much, but they're just not catching up at all, even though these guys are racing really, really hard. It looks like Daniels has some slight damage to his rear wing though, so that could cost him as he's sitting at the front of that pack, and the leaders have actually spread out a bit as well now. We've got Cox moving to the inside of Pattinson. This time he's going to clear him before the turn. Lee Hughes has actually pulled out a massive gap now, so not getting a good run through the chicane there, the guys behind him, but hopefully they'll be able to catch right back up to you, so we get a race for the win here, and not just for 2nd place, as we're in the 2nd to last lap here coming up the hill.
It certainly is here, and of course keeping my eye back on that 2nd grouping. This primary group really, the top 4 here, Lena, still pushing things incredibly hard. A little bit further back, we've got a good race going on here, round about where Clark Williams was. He right now is racing here with the 88 of Dave Kirkman. We've got Maltby just behind them there, and the race is hotly up grabbed into the whole field.
Yeah, he's got a lot of bunches of cars here, and you got Williams. Kirkman goes around the outside of Williams. He's almost going to clear him around the outside of that corner. Not quite, but that was a bold move by him. Really well done to keep traction in the car, and he's actually going to get that position pretty easily. Now Maltby's going to have a look on Clark Williams as well, see if he can make his move up into P number 13, but Williams is going to clear him, so these guys are just going to settle in. They're almost contact behind, but nothing much happening. Back towards the front though, coming down towards the chicane for the 2nd to last time, coming towards the last lap. Lee Hughes has still got a bit of a gap to Matt Cox behind him. It's almost a 2nd now. If he can just get a good exit here, he might well be able to secure this win already at the start of the last lap. Depends what kind of draft Pattinson and Cox can get here. Cox obviously at the front of this one. I think maybe Pattinson wants to give him the bump draft here coming down the straight to make him even quicker, but I don't think he can do that in these cars. We'll have to see what he does. Comes up the inside, and they're going to be neck and neck coming into the braking point. He's going to have the line though, Pattinson. See if he can outbrake it. They're going to brake at exactly the same time. Pattinson though on the inside. He's going to just move out in front of Cox, and he's going to take that crossover opportunity away. He's going to be slightly closer to Hughes than they were last time around, but is it going to be enough? I don't think it is, because Lee Hughes has really set the pace now at the front of this group, and here comes Cox looking back to the inside of Pattinson. Anderson is back there as well, but he's not going to be quite close enough either unless these guys run side by side for a couple of corners. He's actually going to throw it in there. Pattinson sliding through the turn, and that is going to open the gap until he uses even more. And here comes Cox now with a run. He's got the outside for the next corner though, so he's going to have to back out of that one. Anderson is right there as well, but he can't do anything about it.
Certainly is trying to make it a little bit more intense here. Of course, we'll see what they've got left. Half a lap remaining here, Linus, and Hughes is looking like he's in a great position there.
He really does. They just can't seem to get closer to him. 7/10 of a second now through that last sector, so they've not closed at all in this lap, and you can see them just sliding everywhere behind him. Here comes Cox moving to the outside once more. Pattinson covering up the inside. He's going to be side by side again into the braking zone. Cox tried to turn in, but it's a bit too early because Pattinson is still there. Here comes Anderson. Lee Hughes has probably got this in the bag now. Side by side for third behind Pattinson. That's Anderson on the outside trying to pull around Cox. He looks like he might actually do this. Going to be the braking point into the chicane now. Inside for Cox, and he's going to just cross over the nose of Lee Anderson. Look at this. Anderson going to try and get him back though. Can he have the better run from having a better line through the chicane? It doesn't look like he will. But here comes Lee Hughes out of the last corner, and he is going to win at Circuito Catalunya ahead of Ewan Pattinson. It's going to be Matt Cox and then Lee Anderson. Jumping
Behind
quickly
them,
back to the battle for fifth. Go on.
It's not a battle anymore, but Cowan, of course, ahead of Ben Daniels and Tufts coming across the line there to bring us up to the 7th spot. Dave Martin comes across the line with Chris Robertson there, and Jack Knight and James Ruth Jones just behind them too will also come across the finishing line there to bring this one to a close for your top 10. Clark Williams at a big train behind them. Maltby, keep an eye on him. He is right in there too. So Maltby get a position. I don't think it's going to be in time. He'll come across the line though, and they'll finish up this one here for that group of drivers. A lot of cars coming across in that mid-pack, and a huge ball here.
There's a lot of cars coming together here. They were a bit spread out earlier in the race, but they've somehow found each other again here towards the end, and unfortunately we missed all that. But the battle for the lead was just outstanding, Rachel. That was, don't think we've seen 4 cars battling that hard for the win in a very long time.
No,
at least not for that many laps.
No, it's incredibly intense their run at the end. Very exciting to see those guys actually duke it out for most of that race, in fact. That top 4 really fought most of the race long, rather than just being a procession. We had a good active race. So this track, I think, really lends itself to that. I believe this is actually the first time the Skippys have come here.
Yeah, I think it is. It's a pretty new track to iRacing as well, but that was... I hope they come back here, because that racing was amazing.
Absolutely. Well, our post-race results are in. Lee Hughes comes home with a win today at Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, with Ewan Patterson in second place, Matt Cox and Lee Anderson in fourth, with Peter Cowan running at your top 5. Behind them is Ben Daniels, Daniel Tufts, Chris J. Robertson, Dave Martin and Jack Knight, with James Ruth Jones in 11th place. Clark Williams, Dave Kirkman, Paul Smith in 14th there. Simon Maltby, Chris J. Morris, Neil Bontemps, Neil Stevenson, Matthew Crisp and Ray Peasley. That's the results up on your screen, Linus, and like I say, this track has really shown itself to be a very diverse track for the Skippys. It's a much longer track than I imagined with this car, but it makes for a very exciting, tight race.
Yeah, it really did, and well, long sweeping turns, it doesn't matter if you're inside or outside. You can still have a good speed through there, and it's a lot more passing opportunities than I thought. You can pass in almost every single corner around this track, which is amazing. But these cars and this track, that was a perfect match.
Well, that seems to be everything we have today from Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, here in Spain, and Monday Night Skippys. We're going to wrap this one up for tonight, folks. You've been wonderful as always, and we apologise for technical issues at the start of the race, but we got there in the end. Thanks for watching. Good night.